Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. Apologies for the late start because I was having some technical issues. But feel free to let me know if you guys can hear me and see me in the chat. Okay, great. Seems like everything is working. Okay, nice. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get right into it. So welcome to today's pre-market analysis session. So I'm Melanie and I will be your speaker for today. Today's topic, what is today's topic about? Yep, so today we're just gonna look at some pre-market analysis. Apologies for my throat. But yeah, we're just gonna look at some charts. So if you guys have any requests, feel free to just pop them into the comments. Okay, so as per usual, a disclaimer. So a risk warning, trading margin, trading forex and CFDs carries a high level of risk to your capital, and you should only trade with money that you can afford to lose. Trading forex and CFDs may not be suitable for all investors, so please ensure that you fully understand the risk involved and seek independent advice if necessary. Please read and ensure you fully understand our risk disclosure. Okay, so firstly, we're going to look at some FX majors. Just if you have any requests or any questions, just pop them into the comments, and I'll definitely go through those. And then we'll look at some commodities, crypto, and indices, followed by some custom requests at the end. Okay, so again, I'm Melanie. I'm an investment analyst at Rocket, who are finalist for Best FX and Equity Research in the years 2019 to 2021, specializing in technical analysis with a focus on Fibonacci retracements, extensions, and projections. Okay, now let me just pull out my charts. Okay. Okay, we have a request for dollar franc. Okay, can you guys see my charts? Yep, should be working now. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and get started with dollar franc. So I like to start off by looking at the higher time frames first, so we get an idea of where prices are headed towards. So firstly, we can see prices are kind of moving in this downtrend. Okay, but there is a recent bounce off of this swing low here. Okay, Now let's take a look at our daily time frame. Okay, so on our daily time frame, we can see prices moving in a downtrend as well. Okay, so we typically want to follow the direction of trend. So here we have a descending trend line. So just to recap, what makes a valid trend line is if there are at least 3 touches on the trend line. Okay, so we can see here we have 1, 2, and 3 touches. Okay, so now let's go in with some support and resistance levels. I was using the wrong chart. But yeah. So again, let's look at this is a descending trend line that price is moving in. Okay, going in with our first support here, or rather this is our first resistance. And I'll pivot just over here. And our first support just here. Okay. So we're expecting price to continue in this downtrend towards our first support here. So over here, you see our first support. We typically want to try and see how far we can pull this level back. So let me zoom in. The reason for that is so that we can see how many times price has tested this level. So you can see we have a couple of swing highs here, right? And then a swing low and also a swing low here. Okay. Okay, I think that's it for dollar franc. Do you guys have any other questions or any other requests? Yeah. So we normally will look for swing traders, we normally will look at either the daily or 4-hour time frames. Yeah, so that's why we're looking at daily for today. Okay. We have a couple of requests. Gold. Yeah. So are there any other requests for any majors before we get into our commodities? Okay, if not, yeah, let's just go ahead and take a look at gold. Okay, so same thing, I'm gonna start off by looking at our higher time frames first. Oh, okay. Let's start off with some of the majors that you guys have put into the chat. Let me see. Okay, euro dollar. Let's start off with that first. Okay, euro dollar. Okay, so starting off with our higher time frame again, you can see prices kind of moving in a downtrend. Okay, so the first step is always to identify the trend first or general direction on a higher time frame, and then on our daily time frame. Um, on our daily time frame, I don't think we have any trend lines or trend channels. Let's just check. Yeah, we don't have any trend lines or trend channels. So let's go ahead and add our support and resistance levels first. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my pivot, which I'm going to place at this swing high here. Maybe this is my pivot. And then my first resistance, I'm just going to place it at this swing high. And my first support, I'm just going to place it at this level here. And this is an overlap support as well, since we have a swing high and a swing low that line up in the same area. Okay, now going in with some Fibonacci levels, I'm going to start off with a retracement. Okay, so you can see my 61.8 lines up nicely with my pivot. And I think I have a projection here as well. Okay, so for projections, we look at the projections. We look at these three levels, 61.8, 78.6, and 100%. So you can see my 61.8 level is quite close to where my first support level is. So for Fibonacci, the levels don't have to line up exactly. For example, like the 61.8 retracement, as long as it's kind of similar or close to where your horizontal levels are, that's good enough. Okay, Okay, reason being we're looking for confluence areas. We use Fibonacci. So that's why as long as it's kind of near that level, that's fine. Okay, and we're expecting price to continue downwards towards our first support here. Okay, now let's take a look at some indicators. I'd like to start off with Ichimoku and MACD because at one glance you can see exactly what the indicators are telling you. So you can see on our MACD, price is giving us a bearish signal. And on our Ichimoku, price is moving below the cloud, which is a bearish signal as well. So both of these indicators support our analysis. Okay, that's for euro dollar. Okay, I'm just gonna look at the majors first, and then we'll do the crosses towards the end of our session. So next, let's take a look at Japanese yen. Okay. Yeah, let's look at Japanese yen now. Okay, so on our weekly time frame, prices are testing this swing high level here. Okay, on our daily time frame, I don't think we have any trend lines or trend channels. Okay, so let's just go in with our horizontal levels. So again, to start off, my pivot is at this swing high. Okay, and then my first support, I'm just going to place it at this overlap again. Okay, and for my first resistance, I'm going to use a Fibonacci level. Okay, I'm going to place my first resistance at this 161.8 level. Okay, okay, let me just quickly explain why. So firstly, our pivot is where price is currently testing, the level at which price is currently testing. So since we don't have any other higher levels to compare with for our resistance, we will use some Fibonacci levels. So in this case, we are using a Fibonacci extension technique because of this Nike tick shape. Okay, so for this Nike tick technique, we use the levels that are above 100%, namely the 127.2 and the 161.8, which is why You can see the 127 price is currently testing that level, and 161.8 will be my first resistance. Okay. Okay, now going in with some other Fibonacci levels. I'm going to go in with a retracement. You can see my 61.8 lines up with my first support. Okay, and I think maybe we might have a projection. Okay, can see the 61.8 projection lines up with my first resistance as well as my 161.8 level. Okay, I'm just gonna label this swing high here as an intermediate resistance for me to take note of. Okay. Oh, I think it's also in line with another retracement. Let me just check. Yeah, my 23.6 is also in line with my intermediate retracement. Okay, so over here, we're expecting price to continue downwards towards our first support. Being aware that we do have a support, intermediate support level here. So we're going to see if price can break out of this support and continue downwards to our first support. Okay. Okay, that's for USD, JPY. I'll do the crosses towards the end. So now let's take a look at gold. Okay, so quickly time frame again. Prices are moving definitely in an uptrend. Okay, you can see prices moving in this ascending trend channel. Now looking at our daily time frame. Um, okay. So again, prices are moving in an uptrend on our daily time frame. So I'm gonna place my pivot. I'm actually gonna place my first support here at this swing pullback swing high level. And I'm gonna go in with my Fibonacci again. Okay, using that same technique that I mentioned earlier, the Nike tick or Fibonacci extension. So the shape is here. And I'm going in and placing my pivot at the 161.8. Okay. Okay, and okay, let me just clear this 161.8. So again, I'm going in with a projection. So projection, we use these three levels. I can see my 61.8 and 78.6 line up with my horizontal levels. Hmm. Okay, but our 61.8, even though it lines up with our first support, is no longer valid since price has already broken out of that level here. Okay, so I can't use that anymore. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna place my first resistance here. Okay, because over here we have a um confluence area. Okay, and I'm also gonna place my first resistance, or rather my intermediate resistance here. So if you're unfamiliar with Fibonacci, you can take a look at this website. Okay, so I've used some of the techniques that were mentioned here, like our Fibonacci extension, projections, retracements, and if you missed our Fibonacci series, feel free to hop onto this website and take a look at some of the videos. So we have videos on extensions, which are the Nike tick that I just went through, and retracements. And we also have a pretty in-depth guide on Fibonacci, or rather an intro to Fibonacci. So you can go ahead and take a look. There's some examples, GIFs, how to find Fibonacci confluence, like what I did in the chart. Yeah, we also have some trade management techniques, like placing your take profit before and your stop loss beyond a key Fibonacci or resistance area. So you can go ahead and just take a look at this website here. It's just the forexarmy.com Fibonacci retracement. Yeah, because during these sessions, I don't really have time to go in depth into how the Fibonacci levels work. So I try to just simply explain to you and identify the shapes. But if you're still confused, you can go ahead and take a look at their website. Okay, so now let's take a look at some indicators here to see if it supports our analysis. And okay, price is moving above the Ichimoku cloud, and like these also giving us a bullish signal. Okay, so we're expecting price to move above our pivot towards our first resistance. Okay, that's for gold. Okay, I see we have a request for ETH as well. Okay, so let's take a look at ETH. Oh wait, before I do that, Let me just check the comments to see if you guys have any questions. Okay, all good. Let's look at the okay, so on our weekly time frame, okay, prices are kind of ranging. On our daily time frame, let's just go in with our support and resistance levels again. So my pivot will just be at this swing low. And my first resistance, I'm just gonna place it here at this swing low here. Okay, and for my first support, just gonna place it here. Okay. So reason being because at our first support, when you have swing highs and swing lows, the lineup, it's a overlap level, and it's a pretty significant level because price has tested it before, so it's likely to retrace back to those levels and test it again. Okay, I'm gonna look for a retracement now, and you can see my 50% lines up with my first support. So I'm just gonna keep that. Okay, so I'm expecting price to continue in this uptrend towards my first resistance. Okay. We're running out of time, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take a look at some of the crosses that you guys have put into the chat. Okay, so we're looking at pound yen. So on our weekly time frame, okay, you can see it's in a uptrend. Okay, on our daily time frame, prices are also in this uptrend. Okay, and moving in this ascending trend channel as well. Okay, now let's go in with our support and resistance levels. I'm gonna I can see we have a Nike tick again. Okay, so just to help you guys identify the shape, this is the Nike tick. And I'm placing my first resistance at the 161.8. And my pivot, I'm just gonna place it over here at the 127.2. And also, it's also an overlap level. because we have a swing high and swing lows. And then for our first support, I'm just going to place it here and it's overlap as well. Okay, so expecting price to continue in a downtrend. Um, Actually, let's go in with our Fibonacci levels first. So I'm gonna look for a projection. Okay, we can see my 38.2 lines up with my first support. Okay, so I'm expecting price to retrace back to this level here. Since it's an overlap level, okay, you can see we have multiple swing highs and also multiple swing lows. So price is likely to test that level again. Okay, any questions? Okay, if not, I think we have time for one more chart. And we have a request for pound yen. Oh, we're doing pound yen. Aussie yen. Okay, so on our weekly time frame, okay, you can see prices moving in this uptrend as well. Now on our daily time frame, okay, we have this ascending trend channel. Okay, so for my pivot, I'm gonna place it at these multiple swing highs. For my first support, I'm just gonna place it here at the swing low. Okay, and then for my first resistance, I'm gonna place it at this swing high here. So let me see if I can pull back any of my levels. Okay, so you can see at our pivot, we have multiple swing highs here, here, and here. Okay, which suggests that the level is pretty significant. Okay, and also that price might test that level again. Okay, so again, I'm using my Nike tick method. So the Nike tick is here. Oop, yeah, Nike tick is here. Okay, and we're looking at the 161.8 level. Okay. And actually, we might have a resistance, intermediate resistance at the 127.2 as well. So let me just mark that out. Okay. So I'm going in with a retracement now. And for retracements, we use the mid-range. So we're looking at these 5 levels. And you can see that my 50% lines up nicely with my my pivot. Okay, so as of now, we see price continuing in this ascending trend line. So we might see it continue to bounce off this trend line, but most likely it will continue to hit upwards towards our resistance levels here. So let's look at some indicators. Okay, so our MACD as well as our Ichimoku both give us a bullish signal. Okay, because price is moving above the cloud. So it is giving us a bullish signal. So we're expecting it to continue upwards. And yeah, so that's for AUD JPY. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, someone mentioned Bitcoin. So before I end, let's just really quickly look at Bitcoin as well. Okay, so on our weekly time frame, we see it moving in an ascending trend line. Not ascending trend line, but in an uptrend. Okay, now on our daily time frame, I'm gonna place my pivot here. So these graphical levels are purely based on support and resistance. So we're looking at the swing highs, we're looking at any overlap levels, and then we go in with our Fibonacci. So here, I think we might have a projection. Okay, then we go in and add our support these levels with your Fibonacci levels. Okay, so I'm expecting price to continue upwards towards our first resistance. Let's look at some indicators to support this. Okay, price is moving above the Ichimoku cloud, so it's giving us a bullish signal. MACD on the other hand isn't, so I'm going to remove it. Now let's look at some other indicators to support. Maybe moving average. Okay, so you can see price is moving above our moving average indicators. So it also is giving us a bullish signal. Okay. Um, okay, I'll do one last one. Euro AUD. Okay, On a weekly time frame, prices are kind of ranging. If we look at our daily time frame, so I think if you look at our daily time frame, you can see prices recently broke out of our ascending trend line. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna place my pivot here, my first resistance here, and my first support here. Okay, again going in with my Fibonacci levels. You can see my 61.8 lines up. Okay, my 100% also lines up with this level here. This is my intermediate resistance. Okay, and I think maybe I'll place an intermediate support level here as well. I'm gonna go in with my Nike tick again. Okay, you can see my 127 lines up with my intermediate level. Okay, if you guys can't see where the Nike tick is, it's here. Oop, it's just here. So in this case, we have an inverted Nike tick. Earlier, we kept looking at this kind of shape, which might be easier to identify, but yeah, you can do it inverted as well. Okay, I'm also gonna go in with a retracement. Okay, you can see my 50% lines up with my pivot. Okay, so you can see we have a confluence area here. So prices tend to be attracted to confluence areas. So I'm expecting prices to bounce off of the pivot and hit towards our um, hit upwards towards this intermediate level. If it can, it might continue upwards to our first resistance. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna adjust my positions and place my first support over here at the swing low instead. Okay. Reason being because where I placed it earlier was a little bit far from where prices are currently at. So yeah. So the Fibonacci levels are also there for you to readjust your levels and find confluence areas as well. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if not, yep, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys found this session helpful. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys again next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Thank you. See you guys next week.